Hey, everybody, and welcome back to another exciting episode of the Bod Squad. This is the show where we talk about streaming technology. Today, this is episode 153, October 9th, 2019. I am Clyde, and today I am joined by Matthew Ross.
Hey, everybody.
Michael Aston.
Hello, everyone.
And Jimmy Trammell.
Happy birthday, John Lennon.
Ooh.
Happy birthday, John Lennon. Who's that?
I don't know.
Was he the, communist guy?
Yeah, he's that.
He played for a rock and roll band once.
Oh. and that was a trick question because no matter which Lennon you were talking about, the answer is yes. How you guys doing?
Not bad.
Good. Well, now
good,
that
huh?
is solved,
Oh, wait.
we should just
I was up till 3:30 a.m. last night because I went to a Camelot concert in Dallas.
Ooh.
So you went to a Camelot concert, and then you're going to come up here to see Sabaton next week, right?
I wish.
With Hammerfall.
That didn't work out. I wanted to do that, but I didn't have time to be able to come up for the event that's next week.
So Mike, help an old guy out. Who is Camelot?
Camelot is a power metal band.
They're out of Florida. You should know that.
Technically out of Florida.
Yeah, they're like one of the only power metal bands to be out of U.S., let alone Florida.
Yeah.
It was Battle Beast, Sonata Arctica, and Camelot in Dallas. Drove up there, did the concert, drove back. It was absolutely outstanding. I've seen Camelot, the last 4 albums that they toured for, and Tommy Karavik, their new lead singer, not really new anymore after 3 albums, but gets better with every album. So he's.
I think
really
we've had that conversation. I love him I love his voice, but I don't like his writing. Because the first album that he was on was clearly written not by him, because the second album that he was on sounded great, but the lyric, it was kind of lacking. And I was wondering with the new album if they just took back the writing and said just sing the words.
No, I think he definitely still has part in it. I think this one's a little more concept-y, back to more like Silverthorn. I thought it was closer to Silverthorn in some respects. I mean, it's still I mean, the sound is evolving.
Oh yeah, always
with the new characters, with the new band members, because they've also Casey Griot left this last time around since the last album, so they've got a new drummer, and the new drummer, I think it's Alex Ladden something L, and he's really good. I was actually really impressed because Casey was awesome. I was a big fan of him, and it was great. So sorry, this is not the Camelot show, though. Could do a podcast on that myself. I definitely enjoy their music. So
rock on. So all right, well, why don't we just get right into it? Matt, what do we got? What's on the agenda tonight?
We've got news.
News.
The news we have to start to this week is with people who have various smartphones, especially people who have Samsung phones, have been able to use a feature called Android Auto with compatible cars. But up until now, they've only been able to do this when they plug in directly in through the USB interface on the car. Over a year ago, Google said, "Oh, we're going to bring the wireless way of doing this, just like you can do it on our Pixel phones to the other phones." And just now announcing, guess what? The Samsung devices are starting to get that functionality right now. So, as someone who never has had a car with Android Auto or Apple CarPlay, and instead has horrible slow Bluetooth that has like a 2-second delay. I would like to know what this is like.
Okay, so number one, this has been a huge point of contention for me. I am a very heavy user of Android Auto to the point where I started having a problem with my head unit about a week ago, and Android Auto wasn't working, and I didn't know how to operate. Because I am so used to plugging in my phone and then having everything on my screen just go. But the fact that you have to plug into your phone has always seemed ridiculous. So I'm curious how they're doing this. If they're doing it over Wi-Fi or are they doing it over Bluetooth? Because that will make a big difference.
Apple CarPlay, they do use the Wi-Fi.
And if that's the case, then I'm pissed. Because that requires your car to have a hotspot. And
I think it'll do either or, right? It just depends on what your car's equipped with.
Yeah.
If it doesn't
this
Wi-Fi
article
hotspot,
specifically says that, number one, your car has, or your phone needs to be 9.0 Android 9, which mine is. And it needs to have Android Auto version 4.7 or later, which mine does. I got the 9 upgrade a couple weeks ago. I got the new version of Android Auto, but then your head unit needs to be able to support wireless mode. And that's why I want to know is what is the wireless mode? Because my car does support Bluetooth. My car does support Wi-Fi tethering. It can use what if I turned on a hotspot on my phone.
Right.
But I don't want to do that.
Well, I doubt it's going to use the internet to use Android Auto in that way. I suspect it would just basically detect that it's a car with Android Auto, use over Bluetooth, negotiate, and then do an ad hoc network between the two. But I don't know. Maybe it doesn't.
Yeah.
But the question is, what kind of phone do you have?
I have LG phones.
Well, that's probably why it's not working for you yet.
Well, no, I didn't say it is working yet, or I wasn't expecting it. I'm looking for, whether or not this will even be an option for me. Because if it's using Wi-Fi and not Bluetooth, then it doesn't matter if LG adopts it next week because I won't be able to use it. That was why I'm curious, but
right.
Yeah.
But I mean, I've used CarPlay since 2014, right? And it's a good experience. The latest update with the latest OS that they updated, it really looks good, really works well too. I don't know what they did, but they made it better somehow with the latest software update. But yeah, it's really good. And and what I've read, Android Auto, I think, gives you the same or similar experience.
Yeah,
right?
it's essentially the same thing.
It's really good, and the car manufacturers keep trying to push their crap onto you, right? But don't ever. My advice, if you really care about having good fidelity and a good system inside your car, don't use that. Just use whatever comes with your phone, right? Either the Android Auto or the Apple CarPlay.
Yep. And I like I said, I had to go a few days without it, and I almost didn't know how to because I'm trying to use Google Maps on my phone because I couldn't get it on the dashboard, and then it was like this big as opposed
Welcome to my world.
And it was the way I've always gone. I mean, Michael's seen I use a iAudi holder because I like my phone up here.
Right.
And then so it's attached to the windshield. So I mean, it was still in front of me, but then I had to touch my phone to do stuff and couldn't use the steering wheel controls, and it was, I didn't like it.
I'm stuck in the world of having to use the Android Auto on the phone because my
yeah,
card
no,
doesn't handle
Android
that.
Auto.
It's all right.
If I'm of the firm opinion that Android Auto is pointless if it's not linked to the car.
I disagree. I think that since I don't have any display anyways in my car, it's a really low end car. It's better than nothing, and it works great, and just automatically detects and goes. I wish the high quality audio didn't have a 2-second delay, but that's besides the point. But I did like what you said, Jimmy. I don't know what they did, but they made it better.
Right. Yeah. That's
Like that.
I mean, yeah, I think both of those products have been getting better over time.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, they make it better. It seems like every year it gets better.
When I got in my car a couple weeks ago, and then randomly it just said, "Oh, you need to press here to update Android Auto," and I went, "Sweet," because I was afraid because it hadn't been updated in like noticeably updated in like 2 years. I was afraid this was going to be another one of Google's abandoned projects.
Right. I doubt that.
Now that I have like gushed about it, it's gonna be canceled.
Exactly.
But luckily I didn't. I don't like completely love it. I'm still mildly irritated with a couple things, so therefore it may stick around for a little while.
Every once in a while they update it. That's right. All right. So next story, Disney is coming out with their Disney Plus platform. It's coming out in November, right? Soon. We're going to use the word soon, and it is going to be on all kinds of different platforms available, different kinds, which means, you got your Apple TVs and you got your Android boxes and the Rokus, and everybody's getting this. But one exception was the fact that doesn't appear to be coming to the Amazon Fire system.
Well, I mean, it's not like anybody here uses the Android or the Amazon stuff, so it's okay.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make him cry on camera, I swear. Apparently, the reason why they're not on that platform is because of there's a dispute about the ads that are on the platform.
Of course there's a dispute. It's Amazon.
Amazon wants their money, and Disney's basically saying, nope.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, this drives me insane. So, I mean, we've had this similar discussion many times related to the way that
YouTube wasn't on it.
Platform owners, Google Play, Apple iStore, Amazon, use their muscle as being the distribution channel to get money from the other sources. That's absolutely appropriate. I should pay you something to distribute my product. However, if that distribution is something that would happen anyways, as is the case with things like Disney Plus and Netflix, should I be paying you 30% of my profit because people download it through your store? I don't think so. I think that there's a pricing structure that doesn't make sense. And it drives me crazy. Granted, I'm sure there's a little bit of strong arming from the Disney side as well. They probably don't want to pay anything, but yeah, it drives me crazy. All of them do it. This is the most frustrating thing. And I was literally tomorrow going to order the new Fire TV Cube that's coming out like in a couple of weeks. I'm not going to now. I'm going to wait and see what happens because I have to have Disney Plus. I will end up getting a Roku Ultra probably.
Hey, they got the new one coming out.
The new one comes out in a week, less than a week. So if the Fire TV Cube is not going to be able to do Disney Plus, I will be migrating over to Roku Ultra, I guess, because the only other really good option is not a good option for me.
So I think it's funny that if the roles were reversed, you know that Apple would also ask for their 30%. I don't know if they'd ask for 30% of their ad revenue or anything like that, but that's the kind of thing that kind of would be in that contract. So, shoes on the other foot here? I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, I think, like I said, I think both parties probably are being a little bit strong army, unreasonable.
Mhm.
They want their cake and eat it too. But this is, I mean, Apple
But
wants
you know what?
30% of everything they sell. Amazon's the same. Google Play is the same. And that makes sense to the extent that you're a no-name distributor,
Mhm.
and the only way people are able to even find out your game exists is Apple putting it in their face and surfacing that content. It's kind of like a salesperson gets a commission, but salespeople generally get very low commissions on super easy to sell products.
Yeah, imagine as a
Or no
salesperson making 30% of every purchase.
Yeah. So yeah, you may get 30% of that almost impossible to sell product. Really, probably not, but you'll get a bigger commission on the thing that's really hard to sell. It takes you a long selling cycle. It takes a lot of work, but you're not going to get a huge percent of a CD in the music store, even if you oddly got paid commission in the music store, because they generally are fairly easy to sell and it's not difficult. So it's a volume thing. Netflix and Disney Plus are selling plenty without having Apple help them. Now, granted, Apple is part of the distribution. Amazon is part of the distribution. I'm saying Apple because that's just what we've talked about the most in the past is Apple and Google. But Amazon's doing the exact same thing. This is easy to sell. Amazon just wants their cut, and that's ridiculous. I mean, fair to get some, but ridiculous to think they should get a large percentage.
I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe I'll be wrong about this, but I have a sneaky feeling that in the 12th, the 11th hour there, they'll probably strike a deal, right, just in time for it to launch.
I think they'll figure something out. I hope. I mean, Disney Plus is doing very well. They've already sold tons of subscriptions and will certainly sell more once they actually start having the content, assuming the content is good, which I have no doubt it will be.
I bought my 3-year subscription.
Yeah, I've already got my 3-year subscription. So, but once people start viewing the content and talking about it, then people will start subscribing, I think. So it will be even more successful, and it will be a big barrier to people to not be able to get it on the devices. Case in point, I literally will not buy a Fire TV Cube if it is not available on it.
Right.
Even though I'm totally invested in the Amazon ecosystem.
Well,
I love my Fires, my Echoes and stuff.
And see, Mike, that's the reason why I think they'll strike a deal in the 11th hour, because I'm sure you're not the only one that feels that way. And when purchasing a Fire TV, it would be in Amazon's interest if they were to strike a deal with this.
Correct.
Yep,
yeah,
absolutely.
I mean, it's expensive to switch over. But I can switch to Google Home for a few $100 and be completely converted over to Google Home and just drop the whole Amazon ecosystem. And if I had to do that because I can't get the stuff that I care about, I can and will do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, unfortunately.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. Well, we'll have to wait and see what happens there. All right, Twitch. That streaming system that you might be able to watch some games on, or maybe even some talk shows. Sometimes, I don't know. You can now officially launch Twitch on your Apple TV. Apparently, it has been in public beta for a little while, but it is now a full-fledged app available on Apple TV devices.
Finally.
Maybe
'Cause I know that's something that Apple users have been complaining about forever.
Oh, yeah?
Was no official Twitch app. That's one thing that, as a Roku user, I'm complaining about, because there was an official Twitch app, but Twitch decided, they didn't want to update it, and they just pulled it.
Oh, that's
really?
They shut it down.
Really?
Yeah. And I mean, on the easiest platform to program for, with no nothing. There's no fees, no nothing. Just put it out there, and they were like, we don't want
They
to.
must have done something like change their APIs or something.
Well, they
and
did. They changed the API, but like a year and a half ago.
Right. And then so they looked at all their platforms and went, well, okay, we're going to hit this one, this one, this one.
And they just went,
no, we don't have enough people on Roku. We'll just let that one go.
yeah.
I'm guessing that's what they did. And that's a jerk move. Twitch. All right. So if you guys have been looking at the various sound bars out there and been looking at your different options, got a new low cost option available to you. Roku is teaming up with Walmart and their On brand to make a low cost versions of their two devices. One of them is a sound bar, and one of them is one of their wireless subwoofers. They, I believe, are $129 each, and these are slightly less wattage than the other versions of the same thing. Apparently, they don't look exactly like the Roku soundbar and Roku subwoofer themselves. They are a different design, but they are a smaller wattage. For example, I believe the soundbar was a 60 watt for the Roku version, and this On version is only 40 watt.
Yeah,
but that gets you a Roku compatible soundbar for $130.
And this is actually tempting because we talked about the Roku Smart Soundbar and subwoofer when it was announced a couple months ago or a couple weeks ago. But that $180 price tag was kind of, I couldn't find a use for it for me to justify that. But at $129,
and go on sale
in my bedroom where I gonna be running it at much lower volumes,
right?
Normally I would say nope, I want the most power, but in this case, $50 less, few watts less. It sounds like a deal to me. As long as it sounds good, that's all I care about.
Right. I've been looking at sound bars because TV speaker sound can be crap. And a soundbar is an easy way to upgrade that to something decent. And this is a compelling option, so I will be looking at this one as well.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely a no-brainer for not your primary television for sure.
Yeah, it's a question of if the quality of the audio really. I mean, it's $50 less, and it's actually a really good deal because the Ultimate, the Ultra, I expect to be about $100. And so this is basically $30 for a speaker system in addition to the Ultra. So if you're going to get the Ultra, which is what the functionality of this is comparable to. So I think that it's a really compelling price point and very interesting. If the audio isn't really good, I mean, I think the extra $50 is probably worth it, as Jimmy points out, for your primary TV, your key listening place, to be able to have a little bit more volume, to have a little bit better quality in that audio. So I think, I'd probably still be inclined to go with the $180 version unless it turns out that the audio is really exceptional in this. I'd be really surprised if it is.
And,
it's basically
the other big difference is that the On version won't have the voice remote. Which, if you're like me and you've never, ever used that feature, I don't care. As long as I have the volume buttons on the side and the power button, that's all I care about.
What do you mean it doesn't have remote?
What's that?
So the
voice
Roku
remote
version. The Roku version is literally has many different Roku features, including a voice you can control it kind of remote.
So because this sound bar is a Roku Ultra built into a sound bar.
Oh, right. It's got video output.
Yeah.
Nice.
So the sound bar is effectively a Roku Ultra built into a 32-inch audio system.
Yeah.
But that's the normal Roku Ultra has the voice remote,
right?
The voice. So with the voice feature, push the button, you can talk to it. The On version won't have that remote.
Okay.
Which if you use the voice features, that's an issue. If you have other Rokus in your house, then it's not an issue because you can pair any
Right.
Roku remote with any Roku in your house. You can switch them around. So I don't think that's going to be a big deal for a lot of people.
I mean, again, it's kind of you're doing that comparison. If you're saving $50, you don't get as good a remote, which has the voice functionality, and the audio quality isn't there, then it's pretty easy to justify the extra $50. On the other hand, if it's, an extra room, extra TV, it's a pretty compelling thought. I've got a TV here in my office. I could see myself getting something like this as the sound solution for that.
Like I said, if this was going in my living room, then yes, I would spend the extra money for the better fidelity. But I've got a 7.2 Atmos receiver in my living room. I don't need that in my bedroom. I don't need a 250 watt sub in my bedroom. I'm pretty sure that the 150 watt sub is going to be more than effective.
Aw, don't you want the people on the other end of the house to hear what you're watching?
Well, no, everybody's on the same end of the house. All
Don't
the
you want
bedrooms
to
are next to
feel
each other.
the bass shaking your bones so you can feel your skeleton inside your body?
I will be putting that sub directly under the bed to make the mattress.
Okay. Well, if those aren't the options you want for sound speakers, there's another option for you.
Oh, yeah?
Sonos has a new option for you, working with IKEA, but only in the Netherlands, unfortunately. The ability for you to rent Sonos speakers. They have different options from, you can get 2 Sonos One speakers for about $16 a month, or you can get the TV for your TV package, which has the beam, their soundbar, the Sonos Beam, and 2 more Sonos One speakers for $27 a month, or the home theater setup, which is the soundbar, subwoofer, 2 speakers, and free installation if you live in Amsterdam for $55 a month. So the idea is, hey, I want to try and or wished I could only have it because I want to have that big old party this week. You can just rent out your Sonos system now. What do you think, guys? Is this something you want in the States?
I was going to say, if you can't afford to buy a full Sonos system, you can rent it month by month.
This kind of thing is insanity to me. I mean, this is indicative of why we have so many financial problems as a world and as a nation. I mean,
well,
you want to have something that you can't afford. So instead of being responsible and saving a reasonable amount of money over a period of time and buying it, you rent it so that you never own the product, and it's ridiculous. Yep. Sorry.
I agree, Mike. I mean, there's no bound to, this subscription mentality, right? You got to subscribe to everything, right?
If they did it as a try before you buy type solution, you rent it for $27, return it if you don't want to keep it.
Mm-hmm.
If you want to keep it, it applies to the cost. Then that makes sense. I'm totally on board. Then it's really built around, hey, we believe our product is so good that if you get it in your house, you're going to pay for it and keep it. That kind of makes sense. But the whole idea of, it's like the leasing thing, right? Like leasing makes sense if you're going to buy a new car every 3 years, but it really doesn't make sense to buy a car every 3 years. So
$27 a month. Do they throw in Disney Plus for that too?
Yeah.
But I mean, when you look at so there's a couple scenarios here. When you look at the prices, so I mean, the play bar costs $877, a beam costs $493, and the subwoofer is another $877. So if for $55 you're getting the subwoofer, the play bar, and two Sonos One speakers, which each cost $251 a piece. Yeah, if this makes sense for number one, events. I'm throwing a party, I'm doing an open house, I'm doing something, I need it for a few days or a month or whatever, or I'm going to be in this space for less than a year, okay,
Well,
$55 a month. I mean, it would take you, so somebody do the math. So that's like
so
$4,000 right there. I'm guessing, right?
I mean, at least they don't lock you in. They do say you can cancel any month.
Exactly.
Right.
So I mean, if you want a $4,000 system and you're gonna pay $55 for a year and a half, that could make sense. It's like leasing a car instead of buying it.
So this might not be a bad thing. Maybe you could get a deal on somebody that's rented one for a couple of months, right, and get like 40% off or something.
Well, I mean, potentially, though, likely what ends up happening is when you rent, you're getting somebody else's previously rented.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, eventually they'll retire them and maybe you buy them at a fraction of the cost. But I mean, they're less than $150 each, really. So the Sonos ones in the US are about $150 a piece, and so $270 for two of them at Costco, for example. So
well, no. Okay, you're going by the U.S. So this is only in the Netherlands. In the Netherlands, the Sonos One costs $250.
Okay. Well,
and so I mean and so they are paying $55 a month in their market for these prices.
So I did do the math. So the math is that they end up adding two of those Sonos Ones, one sound bar, and one of the subwoofers cost the Netherlands people an equivalent of 1,872. If you divide that by 55, you get 34 months. That's almost 3 years.
Yeah. So I mean, if you're gonna rent it for, let's say, a year, it's a good deal. I mean, that could.
I mean, I think the idea of renting a sound system for a year doesn't make a lot of sense, right?
I agree with you, Michael, because also just imagine all the waste.
Yeah. I mean, if you want quality sound, you're going to want quality sound for more than a year. You're still going to want good sound.
I mean, you've got a year lease. And you don't know where you're going to be the next year.
Wherever you are, you're not going to have space for a subwoofer.
Yeah.
But
I mean, when you buy a house, I mean, I bought my house in 2004. I bought my speaker system for, I think, right around $1,000, maybe a little over $1,000 back in 2005, and that's still the sound system I have today.
Yeah. But I think that there is a place, like you said, if you're doing an event, then it makes sense to rent it, right? Like, I would say, you probably are going to rent a more powerful system than a few Sonos and stuff. But yeah, if you want to have, I mean, that goes back to my initial statement of, what is it that makes you feel like you have to have Sonos? If you're having a Super Bowl party and you feel like you got to impress your friends and rent Sonos so that your Super Bowl party is pretty outstanding, come on, just accept the fact that you don't have Sonos and can't afford it. That's fine. Like, I think that, getting a little preachy here. Sorry, guys. I'll let it slide.
I mean, but and Bose is the official sponsor of the football league, right?
Yes, they are.
Yeah, I don't like Bose though, so.
I got no problem. Anyways, hey, next story. Hey, guess what, guys? If you guys have been using Hulu, if you have our Hulu subscriber, there now are options available for you to you go ahead and download your shows so you can have it offline viewing of those shows as long as you have the ad-free plan. This means that you can now go off the grid and still get your shows in, much like you could with many of the other platforms out there now. This is now available to looks like at least iOS, and I'm going to guess as well as to Android.
It's about time.
Nope, available to Android soon. iOS gets it first.
It's about time, because I always, when I get to go, or when I get ready to go on the plane, I have to download a bunch of Netflix stuff because I can't download any of my Hulu stuff. So yay.
Yep. This is
There's no downside.
this is all wonderful. Good job, Hulu. Guys, if you guys like reading your books, you might also want to consider offering a Kindle for your kids. There's a new version of the program, of the little platform, available called the Kindle Kids Edition. It's about $20 more than the standard Kindle. I think that's $109, I believe, $110. That gives you many of the different features, like being able to get a whole bunch of kid-friendly books available to you. It's got a bunch of. Does it come with the standard kid warranty that they can break it once with no questions asked? I don't see that.
I don't know.
Nope. Yep. 2-year worry-free guarantee.
Okay.
Nice.
Yeah,
I might.
It has that, and it has the case too, right? So
yes, and it comes with a kid's case.
Case. So I think it sounds like a good price, a good deal. I mean, I have a hard time with the idea of Kindle devices in general, since, I have Kindle on my phone. My kids have a tablet already. They can get Kindle on their tablet. And my older daughter already has a phone. So again, she would just use her phone. I feel like while there is a place for Kindle, it's a pretty limited niche audience. And the idea of getting a Kindle for my kid, I guess I could argue that, well, then I know my kid's only reading.
Exactly.
Games on their tablet. It's reasonable, but it's an expensive approach to that, as opposed to getting, just paying attention to what your kid's doing on their device.
Oh, come on. We know that parents will take any opportunity to make the fact that they have to watch their kids easier by using shortcuts, like giving them a neutered device every time. Anyways, I actually do like this. And the reason why people like Kindles is because they are disconnected. I can't do it much with them except for the great reading experience. And they have
in their free time mode has always been really good. Because it gives them access to specific content. You can specify how long certain types of apps they're allowed to use, and then you can set the thing that says after 30 minutes of one thing, if you read 10 minutes of a book, then you can do another 30 minutes of the other thing. But that was on the regular Kindle. The free time made sense there. On this is a Paperwhite.
Exactly.
So why do you need the free time controls? Sorry, you can only read so much Tom Sawyer, or whatever the current thing is.
It does
Harry
include
Potter.
much of books.
You have to go read this much of Dickens,
the U.S. Constitution,
or like the Constitution or something. I don't get it.
It does. So to answer, part of the answer to that is that it does include a bunch of books.
No,
So
I understand that.
Kid-friendly books that they would have access
Yeah.
to. So that is a little bit of a nice feature. And it still is reasonable to say maybe while it is reading, which is generally a good thing, you may still want them off devices after a certain amount of time.
Well,
Okay.
that, and there are actually games for Kindles. I've seen them.
On the Paperwhite?
Yep.
There are a few of them, yeah.
Yep. Like chess kind of games.
Yeah. Not a lot, but there are
Mahjong.
some.
Yeah, games that kids love to play.
Exactly. Hey, I played battle chess a lot as a kid, okay?
And I will say, because several years ago, my kids, for their first tablet, I got them a Kindle Fire. So I'm very familiar with, it was the Fire HD. I'm very familiar with the free time and the, other thing. But that introduced me to Scribblenauts. Are you guys familiar with Scribblenauts? Scribblenauts seemed amusing, when I watched them play it because they have to type the words, until I started playing it and I realized they've got a lot of crazy stuff hidden in there if you know the words. Like I asked for, I typed in flamethrower. All of a sudden, the dude had a flamethrower, and everybody's running around on fire. It's like, I love this game.
Yeah, I found out a long time ago, Scribblenauts, you can pretty much solve any problem with Cthulhu.
Oh, you can. Oh, I never thought about Cthulhu.
He shows up.
That game is morbid. It's very innocent on the surface, and well, the kids are playing it because they have such a limited vocabulary. But I asked him for a tank, and then I was just driving over people, and it's
Yeah. I wonder if my 29-year-old daughter would like one of these.
Scribble Nuts or a
No,
paperweight.
one of these Kindles.
Oh, get her one of the kid paperweights.
Actually, I bought her a Paperwhite a few years ago.
Okay.
Uh,
All
yeah.
right.
So we have a story here about the musicians and their work in the streaming industry, streaming movies and streaming TV shows. Apparently, many of the musicians have been getting together and been talking to the various providers about the fact that they aren't feeling like they're getting enough royalties. Streaming in made for streaming productions, we get about 25% of what we get from traditional theatrical or TV film production. In other words, they are trying to make make it so they are getting as much money as they get in traditional formats as they do in the streaming market. This is the kind of important to know because this may affect streaming television and TV movies services in the future.
Yeah. So essentially, what's going on is they get residuals based on how many times a show is streamed. Based on they get a piece, but the issue is with if the media is moved to a different market. So let's say one of those Netflix shows that ended up coming out on DVD or Blu-ray after the fact, they don't, the current deal, they don't get residuals for that. They only get the residuals from the streaming, which is different than if they had been a large major theatrical release. Traditionally, they would get residuals on any subsequent release of that material. Even like if it showed on your local TV station at 2:00 in the morning, they'll get, their residual. So that's what they're angry about at the moment. And, whether or not that's valid, that's, for the market to decide. That's for the, the people that made the deals and the studios that are financing the production. I'll be interested to see how it shakes out. But,
I think, I mean, this is interesting to me. It's how do these situations occur in the first place? I mean, they are not forced to license their product, their music to them. So,
and a lot of these people were brought on to compose music for a specific project.
Right.
So,
the point being, they're agreeing to contracts ultimately that are disadvantageous to them.
Yeah.
I think that it makes sense. I mean, I don't know what they get paid. I don't know if their pay is exorbitant or fair or what, but I think that it makes sense for them to be paid the same amount for the work, regardless of how it's distributed.
Well, then, okay. So the way that works is usually they will. They're not complaining about the money they're being paid up front. It's the residuals that come in over the years, because residuals go for basically ever. And I mean, the contracts that they're signing right now that you just say they get it only for the streaming portion, they don't get residuals on other formats. So, I mean,
Also, ghost contracts are so full of various pieces of, of futurism, like, oh, and if the future there's a virtual reality version of this,
Mhm.
we will give you 10% of your normal commission. And if in the future there is a holodeck version, which is not virtual reality, but it's a different thing, it's very similar, but we'll give you 5% of your
Yeah.
normal. And so and any future version that we can't think of, that you get 1%.
Sorry about
They
that.
will get those possibilities all planned out, and of course everybody writing the contract wants to make it as best for their party as they can. So that's how that works.
Yep.
It's interesting that Hans Zimmer is part of the
Well,
campaign.
he's supporting them.
Yeah.
I mean, but
That is
he's a
interesting.
film
I like
composer. This is his medium.
Yeah.
So
I like Hans. Go Hans. He makes good music.
So.
Well, Sling TV is offering a new interface for some of their various platforms, particularly some of their smart TVs like the LG TVs and Samsung TVs, and also the Xbox One have getting a new micro guide interface, which gives you your guide of what's going on, what if you can browse through your channels. Without covering up most of the TV. Also, it gives a new search feature on the left, which allows you to bring out the on-screen keyboard so you can do your searches really quickly and easily. So, new interface coming.
Cool.
Hopefully, most everybody. That's good.
It's about time. It's been due.
I haven't used Sling in so long. How is it?
I don't know. The last time I used it was when we first started doing this show.
Exactly.
And
Yeah, that was the last time I used it.
We're supposed to spend a month with it.
Maybe I do feel like maybe we're getting to a point where it's worth revisiting some of those.
Absolutely.
But yeah, I was not terribly impressed the first time around, so I've never even thought to look back.
If I remember, I thought it needed a guide back then, if I remember correctly. It felt like it didn't have one. So,
It had something. It just was hard to use.
Not good. But it being said, remember, Sling is still the number one of all the different streaming platforms as far as number of subscribers, mainly because they were first and they are probably still the cheapest. So to provide most of those channels. All right, Google Home, and I want to say Google Home, but it's actually Nest devices, have now a new feature that I've been wanting ever since I've started playing with a couple of these. You can now ask your Google devices to move the media from one device to another. This includes music that you're currently listening to. You can say, yo, G-Box, move the music to the other speaker in the other room, and it will be able to do that. Same thing with moving videos that are compatible, which I believe right now are mostly YouTube videos, and to your Chromecast.
Cool.
This is something I'm going to use because I've wanted to use this a lot. Like, I'm in a room and I'm working and I'm listening to something. I've asked, hey, I want to move my audio to this other room that I'm going to be working in for now. And it's always been able to say, I'm sorry, I can't do that.
Yeah, it does look like, though, one limitation is that it won't work with third-party assistant-enabled smart speakers, such as the Sonos one.
Oh,
so right now it's limited to only the Google and Nest products.
Okay.
Hopefully they'll fix that.
Oh, I would assume so.
I may be finding out very shortly how good the Google system works. That sounds like a cool feature. I don't have it on my Echo devices.
And if you're not buying your Cube, you're going to the Roku, you may as well just go to the Google.
Exactly. Might as well switch to the Google platform.
Get everything from down to the smoke detector and your thermostat.
I have a Nest thermostat already.
Then why don't you have the Nest?
Well, because Nest integrates with the Echo devices as well, just fine. So, but yeah, I mean, I like this feature. Maybe I'll be benefiting from it soon.
Go to Costco, buy that little mini display for dirt cheap, make it a clock somewhere. It's good. It's got no camera. It's all good. All right, so there's a movie coming out. You should not see it. I'm just telling you that up front. There's a movie though. It's coming out. It's called Gemini Man. Don't see it. No, just don't see it. it's just not good. But anyways, the interesting thing about the movie is that they're going to be coming out with the giant 4K IMAX displays available for lots of people out there to see, but also in 14 theaters will be able to watch the movie in 120 frames per second. But the resolution is going to be half, so it's only 2K. What do you think? Do you want to watch an action film with 120 frames per second display seconds?
No.
You're shaking your head. No, why not?
Well, when stuff is shown in 120, it always looks that soap opera effect.
Uh-huh.
The plasticky shot on video. Yeah. So I don't think I'd want to see it that way, if I even wanted to see it at all.
Mm-hmm.
But
Not sure.
Okay.
For me, I'm not sure. I'd have to see it too.
Okay, well then let's put it this way. I want all the reviewers to go out there and watch this movie in the 120 frames per second version of this, so they can report back how horrible.
Oh,
it is.
you know why they're doing this?
Why?
To get people to go see it twice. Double the box office.
No, that won't work, guys, because they're going to watch it once and they have twice the amount of Will Smith as they want, and they'll be like, no more.
Well, maybe it'll be better if we see it in 120. We saw it in 4K first.
So you're going to see Will Smith versus Fresh Prince, and then you're going to watch to see it again in 3 times the the frame rate. Come on, guys, or twice the frame rate.
Twice.
No, actually, if it's 30 frames a second, it's 4 times the frame rate.
Well, yeah, I don't know.
I think most people won't be able to tell the difference. I don't.
Well, remember, the Hobbit did come out at 90 frames per second, and people hated that too.
Yeah,
so.
apparently, though, so to answer Drew's question, 3D screenings will be projected at 60 frames per second. So no 120 for the 3D.
Okay. Yes, go see it and tell your friends that you don't like it. I encourage that for no particular reason.
Oh, wait.
None whatsoever.
Yeah, so it almost all high frame rate 3D streaming stateside will be projected 60 frames per second.
Huh.
But in the UK, some Odeon theaters kitted out with Dolby 3D tech will run Gemini Man at 120 frames per second, and then select theaters in Asia will offer the full 120 frames per second 4K experience.
Hey, if you are want to go all the way to UK or to Asia to watch it in 4K or anything like that, that's fine by me. That's fine. Then you can watch it as many times as you like. I don't care.
Yeah, I think if you want all three, you have to go to a select theater in Asia.
All right, start planning my trip.
All right,
like
go for it.
And in 3D.
But let me ask: is
20 frames
so
per second.
maybe I'm wrong, but isn't Gemini Man a remake?
I don't know,
because I know the name Gemini Man, because I figured initially I thought it was like because he was in the remake of the Charlton Heston movie Omega Man.
Right. So according to a quick Google search, it is not a remake of the 1976 TV series called Gemini Man.
It is not. Okay.
It is not a remake.
This one, it just happens to be, that was the birth sign he was born under.
I have no idea.
The sequel will be Pisces woman and Aries
Capricorn.
children.
Phenomenal is my understanding. 30% on Rotten Tomatoes.
Oh, so it's gonna be great.
Well, if you go with the traditional, if the critics hate it, then it's probably going to be enjoyable.
Probably so. It's probably true.
Yeah, it's not always the case, but it's fair.
Sharknado was.
Get to the most important story of the night.
Oh, if you want the most story of the night, that would be that we are getting first. Oh no, never mind. We'll get back to that in a second. Disney Plus. If you know, there was that deal where you get Disney Plus for a 3-year deal, and it basically was down to $4 a month, and that deal went that fast. They now have an official deal available for you. You can buy a 3-year deal for $170 a month, which is about $5 per month.
That's good.
That's still good.
Yeah, the other deal wasn't for multiple years. It was just for a full year.
No, it was a
Wasn't
3-year
it?
deal.
It was
Originally
they-
for like
they-
147.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, they very briefly offered a deal where you can get 3 years for
Yeah.
for $4 a month essentially, and that disappeared real fast because it was really popular, and now they're offering a similar deal, just $5 worth of.
So yeah, so now at $5, that's a 3-year plan for $169.99, which is $40 off the list price, which would be $209.99. So yeah, if you've got $170 that burning a hole in your pocket and you want to save 40.
I don't get this, because the reason I don't get this is because I know it's going to be fine. There's nothing going to be wrong with it, but still, you're basically saying upfront, Disney, you can do no wrong for 3 years. And it's Disney, and I get it because they probably aren't going to do any wrong. It's probably a safe bet. I don't know. I don't know if
I don't think I'm going to pull that. I mean, it's the same reason that I don't do the Amazon Prime yearly. Because I watch so little content on Amazon. I order so little stuff that I turn that off periodically, and I'll probably do the same thing with Disney because I don't.
Something will come on, you want to watch it, you turn it on, you watch it, and you turn it off.
Yeah, that's fair. I think so. There's a couple of things that I want to comment. First of all, is while that is a fair statement for a lot of people, as a family with kids, I will never not have it. So I feel confident saying that as long as my just now 7-year-old daughter, until she's 13, 14, 15 and no longer interested in that kind of content, which probably won't ever happen because assuming that they continue to do good, but say at least for 3 years, she's going to enjoy the Disney content. So I feel confident and comfortable doing that. The other thing though is I'm not betting that Disney can do no wrong. I'm betting that there will be some right. So they can do lots of wrong. They can have lots of crappy shows that nobody wants to watch on there, as long as there are some good shows that I do want to watch. The Mandalorian, I'm excited to see that. I have high confidence that it's going to be at least decent. The Loki show, the 4 other different Marvel shows. Even
Jeff
if
Goldblum.
one of those is good, I'm still getting something I want to watch, right? So
they haven't announced a single thing that made me go, "Ooh, I want to see that."
That's because you're weird, Clyde.
Yeah, I'm just saying. And then plus, I asked my kids about it, and they went, 13-year-olds.
2 months in, they'll be like, yeah, I want to watch something.
We'll see.
I mean, the Star Wars is what got me, but I mean, but there's other things like, the Jeff Goldblum show, right? I mean, that seems intriguing. I mean, that's not going to be like, the greatest thing
I'm not
ever
going to sign up
or anything.
3 years now because Jeff Goldblum has a show.
No,
I might wait till it's done and then sign
you're
up
not
for a month.
You're not going to sign up for 3 years
But
for that.
that was my point.
saying-
That was my point. I'll sign up here and there.
My point is that you got a lot of good content already. Right as soon as you get in the door. You got all the Marvel, all the Star Wars, all the Pixar, all the Disney, all the National Geographic, right? And then you get also other stuff that they're doing, like the new Star Wars series. And then they're going to also have stuff like Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah. For somebody like myself, this is a safe bet, right? I paid $150, and even at $170, it's a pretty safe bet to say that over the next 3 years, as a person that loves Marvel and loves Star Wars, I'm going to get enough content out of these good shows that I'm willing to just save myself the money because I'm confident that I'm going to keep subscribed for 3 years. It's, I would do the same with Netflix. If Netflix offered me $8 a month for 3 years instead of whatever 14, 15 that I'm paying, I would absolutely do it, because while I could potentially unsubscribe during certain times of the year, the odds that I will do that because I do like enough of their content and I do use it often enough are slim enough that I feel like it makes sense to do it where I can save money. And again, with kids, it's super safe for me because I know I will always have it with my kids.
Or you could switch your mobile provider to T-Mobile and then you get it for free, right?
Yeah. that would require me leaving Verizon, who I've been with. I like Verizon, so.
Yeah, I mean, I was an AT&T guy, and T-Mobile. I can't tell any difference, but yeah.
Some people can. Some people really don't like one or the other. But
ultimately,
so
from the provider perspective, it depends on where you spend your time. Right. Yeah. There are certain places where one of the networks just don't work very well, and so
I mean, I live in one of those spots to where none of the carriers have a real good signal where I live. We're just kind of right in between the towers.
Yeah.
Right? But T-Mobile, and I think all the other carriers will do this too. They'll give you one of those microcells you can put in your house, and then you get full signal, right? And then when I'm out and about, I mean, I've been with T-Mobile. I've tried AT&T. They all drop calls. I've never seen a carrier yet that doesn't drop calls, right? And so T-Mobile gives me a pretty good deal. I can save money, and then you get Netflix for free. Good deal for me.
All right. Well, rock on. All right. This is the point where we like to take a moment and thank all of the wonderful patrons that support this show every month. You guys are awesome. You are one of the many reasons we keep doing this. Probably the most. Would you say? It's so up there.
I would say that the people who watch the show make this show so much more fun.
Absolutely.
And the people who are patrons, we feel the love.
That's really above and beyond.
Exactly.
So.
Thank you.
Thank you. For those of you that are not currently supporters, if you would like to be, that is patreon.com/The VOD Squad. And that brings us to...
We can talk about it now?
We can talk about... No, Jay is going to talk about it.
Okay.
Hold on. Jay.
Which team are we
Welcome to your Red League Movie Draft Minute, presented by DiamondClub.tv for the week of October 7th, 2019. I'm your host, Big Voice Jay. The temps have finally left triple digits. But has someone already racked up 9 digits at the box office? Let's go to the scoreboard. Teams BS with BNS, Movie Party, Mixtape, Game Night, and Geek.io are all tied for last place, still waiting for their first film. And in first place, thanks to Joker's 9-figure debut, it's Team VOD Squad with $119.8 million. What's your Stream Team Movie Draft Minute? For up-to-date listings, follow Stream Team Draft on Twitter.
Let me just say, congratulations, but enjoy it while you can.
Oh, we're going to enjoy this for a while.
For a couple weeks. You've got 2 more movies coming out this week, so you'll hold that lead for a little while. Until was it the 23rd of November?
Yeah, we will.
Comes out.
I am very certain that nobody will be able to catch up with us at this point, at least until Frozen. And at that point, we'll see what happens. And then the other one to possibly push us off is Star Wars. And so
you don't think my Jojo Rabbit's going to unseat you?
I think Jojo Rabbit's going to do really well. I just don't know if it's going to be able to push above both Joker and Jexy. But I could be wrong. It could be a opening $200 million movie, and I could see that happening. It's that silly. Mm-hmm. At the same time, I mean, it would be a total producer's moment at that point.
The whole reason I am enamored with Jojo Rabbit is because they essentially took the premise of one of my favorite TV shows. It's an Irish show that is shown here on Hulu called Moon Boy, with Chris O'Dowd as the imaginary friend. And they just said, "Oh, wait, let's just put him in Nazi Germany," because it's the same kind of personality in the imaginary friend. I would be surprised to find out, or if I were to find out that was not a kind of launching point for or inspiration. Because I love that show, and I really want to see where they can go in Germany. So, but yes, congratulations. Joker did pretty much what we expected, and that's why it was number 3 on my list of top 3.
Yeah.
But I got my number 1, so
Wow.
you guys got the Joker. Good.
So you wanted to have Frozen more than you wanted to have Star Wars.
Star Wars could go. I don't know. And I knew that Star Wars was not worth the fight.
Yeah, okay, that's fair.
That's why it was. It was on my top 3 of. These are the top 3. You need to get at least one of these.
Okay.
And
based
on the order that they were coming out,
right?
It wasn't. I knew it wasn't going to be worth the fight.
So I actually didn't put Joker in my top 3 because I put Joker too much as a risk because it could have bombed as well. I actually put my third one as Maleficent, knowing Disney generally makes a decent amount of money on that. Mm-hmm. So I was happy that I got both Maleficent and Joker. And then I got some other ones in there that the only one I really feel bad about my picking up is Cats. I'm sorry. But I couldn't let him have it. BS with BNS just couldn't have a movie. I'm sorry. I just had to stop him.
Yeah. No, if I'd had the money, and that was my dream, a perfect draft dream, was to be able to get Frozen 2 and Joker. Even if it was just those 2 movies. But due to the way they rolled out, it wasn't possible.
Nope.
So, yeah.
You got some good movies.
I'm happy with my slate.
Your slate is gonna do you pretty well. Frozen 2 is gonna be a real clincher though. If it doesn't perform, you're done.
The way I look at it, if I'm not in first, I'll probably be in second.
Probably.
That's
possible.
That's just my guess.
I'm hoping for one of our other movies to blow up, like maybe 21 Bridges or Jexy. So
yeah, it's gonna be a interesting season. Winter always is because you never know.
That's true.
You
also,
never know.
Looking at all the different ones, Geek.io probably has the best slate, quite frankly, because they just have a little bit of everything.
They've got a ton of movies.
I know.
Yeah, but not anything.
Bad Boys for Life could make some money. Gemini Man could make some money, maybe not as much as they want. Charlie's Angels could make some money.
No. Correct yourself.
Sounds like our lineup from last.
I know that's the problem. That's why it's not going to work for them. We picked a bunch of things that we're like, oh, all these things should up to a decent amount of money, and it didn't work out for us. Mm-hmm. Which is why we didn't do that this year. I knew I had to pick up some big titles. So
yeah, the other movie that I wanted that I wasn't able to get would be the Jumanji movie.
Oh, okay. I thought I was about to say Knives Out, right?
Oh, I want to see Knives Out. I wouldn't mind having Knives Out. I'm looking at the cost again. There was one movie that scared the crap out of me because I thought I was going to get stuck with it at $18.
Which one was it?
I'm trying to remember. And then
Dr. Sleep?
No, I was bidding up somebody. Maybe it was Ford. Was it Ford versus Fieri?
Probably.
I don't remember. I'd have to watch back through the VOD. But I was I bid on it because someone wanted it. Someone wanted it, so I kept bidding them up. But then it stopped, and I only had like some money left, and that was gonna kill me. If that would have been my last movie, if they had let me have it, and
Ford versus Ferrari is actually going to do okay. I think the car guys are going to come out and watch it.
Yeah,
I don't think
it's going to do first man money.
17 million. You think it's that bad?
It's going to be less than 100. It'll be lucky if it hits 50.
Okay. I thought it might do better. It's got name recognition in the actors, and and there are people who are big car heads who like this story.
It's gonna do a lot like the movie Faster. I remember when Faster came out, it was a MotoGP movie. It got released in theaters, and all motorcycle guys were so excited, and I went with a group of people to go see it. And
theater was empty.
We were pretty much, we were the only people that went to go see it. And so, while all the motorcycle guys were excited to see it, there was a line outside the theater for that showing. Yeah, I mean, that's like 2% of the population. And that movie didn't make, I'm curious to see what Faster made.
Rabbit Magic just said that I thought it was Ford versus Fieri.
It is.
That is exactly
it's Gerald Ford and Guy Fieri in a road race.
I totally would watch that. I would totally watch that. But no, that's exactly how W. Scottus One announced it.
W. Scottus One can't pronounce Ferrari, so he kept saying Fieri.
So that is what we've been calling it ever since.
So it is officially Ford versus Fieri.
Sorry.
Will, if you don't believe me, go back to the VOD.
All right.
Okay.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited for the season for us. I think we're going to do well.
I think that this just in. The season is ending early for unexplained reasons. Yes, I think that's what we should do.
Actually, I wonder, particularly if some of these movies might be bumped out, because I bet you some of them will get delayed. Specifically, The Voyage of Dr. Dolittle. I think that movie is going to be pushed out to somewhere in February or further out. We'll see if that.
So I just looked it up. So Faster, 2004, as narrated by Ewan McGregor. Lifetime gross $16,265,000.
Mm-hmm.
It has made $16 million since 2004. So, yeah, this is another one of those kinds of. It's the same kind of movie, but niche. And it'll do winter money. Alrighty, why don't we start to wrap this thing up? We can head on over for some rants and some raves. Alrighty, who wants to go? Anybody? Rants, raves?
So go ahead.
All right, I'll go first. I'll be pretty quick here. So yeah, I mentioned the TV show that I'm watching last week, Das Boot, right? Still watching that one. That's a good one. But what I also wanted to talk about was the new shows that are coming up. I'm really excited for Picard coming in January, and also followed by the 3rd season of Star Trek Discovery. Right. So I'm looking forward to those two.
Cool.
For me, I've had a long weekend. I didn't get anything entertaining done at all. I've been cleaning house, and I got sick, and so I've been spending most of my days and weekends not doing any of the fun things. So I apologize for having a very, very boring rant and or rave.
Yeah, all I've got is Camelot, new concert, new album's pretty good. The concert was amazing. If they come by your town, go see them.
Cool.
It's very worth the $30 or something. So,
Yeah. I don't.
Are they on streaming services? I assume
On
they
Spotify,
are.
yeah.
Camelot with the K. And
I would recommend if you check them out, start with Silverthorn. Silverthorn is my favorite album.
And I would say start with Epica.
Yeah.
The
Right.
Epica Black Halo albums are my personal favorites.
Which is great, but it's not the current sound.
No, it's different than their current sound,
Yeah.
but still the best albums.
And that's why for like a band like this, I like to start at the newest stuff and then work backwards rather than
That's fair. I mean, Silverthorn will give you a feel for their current sound, and that's probably going to give you the best understanding of what their current and future music will sound like. But I still think their best stuff is on those two albums, and that's why they still play a fair amount of it at their concerts.
Sure. Wabbit says he just finished the first season of Undone on Amazon.
Nice.
He said it's really good and unique with Rotoscope and Odenkirk. I've been kind of wanting, sort of interested in seeing that, but I haven't had the motivation. I watched stuff this week. Nothing really jumps out at me as to, I mean, the new season of South Park is absolutely awesome. I'm glad that the last couple seasons haven't been a fluke. Oh, I guess I can't do that. So I gotta pin that. Yeah, so go out, watch the new season of South Park, and stay away from my house. I have a new chainsaw, and it's awesome. I finally, after all these years, have a good chainsaw.
Stay away
20-inch, 50cc pro model.
Just
Chopped
in time
down a
for
bunch
Halloween.
of crap yesterday. Took down a big giant limb today.
Mhm.
I
Just
love
in
my
time
new
for
chainsaw.
Halloween.
All right. Well, with that, thanks everybody for hanging out. Thank you for participating live, guys. You can head on over to tvs.showbot.tv to vote on titles. For those of you that are watching this after the fact, join us sometime, 9 p.m. Wednesday night on Twitch. You get to participate in the chat. You get to tell us when we're wrong. You get to submit titles. And you get to vote on titles. Plus, you get the pre-show and the post-show. So, yeah. I think we'll go ahead and wrap this up. Thanks, everybody. Stick around for the post-show. Otherwise, we will see you next week. Bye.
Bye.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.